And 103, it's going to be Dan Kozik, sophomore out of Washington High School. District 7, Kyle Sheftick, District 5, senior out of North Star, 34-0, one of 12 undefeated champs. Jim Davis along with us. He's going to be our color analyst. Mark Shuey's going to be working the venue areas. Yours truly, Jed Donahue. Hard to believe, but another season is close at hand, Jim, and we got a great beginning here at 103.
And, Jed, this is my favorite version of March Madness. Most people like the basketball season, but wrestling is where it's at. Both of these wrestlers are from the southwestern region, and both wrestlers have done a very nice job qualifying for this final. Kosek won a very tight bout in his semifinal bout against Aaron Deal from Girard, District 10. Deal was a senior. Kosek won that 1-0 in a very close match that could have gone either way.
Yeah, right here, Matt's side, getting an idea, and you get the feeling of just how ferocious the action is center stage. Sold out here at the Hershey Park Arena. Both of these young men, Jim, as you've mentioned, very impressive in getting here. I mean, you talk about survival of the fittest. You better be mentally and physically tough just to make it through the 3-day round to get this far.
Kyle Sheffick from North Star, of course, in the green uniform with the red anklet. He's about to let up Dan Kosek, who will be wearing the red anklet. Excuse me, the green anklet.
All right, now Sheffick with the 2-0 lead. Here in the opening period of action at 103. Jim, one thing when they're standing, you know, we've mentioned over the years how footwork is so mandatory to success, and a lot of wrestlers like to be on their feet, others like to work and score from the bottom.
Oh, that's definitely true. And you watch these guys from their feet. One of the most important things is to make sure that you are well balanced. If you shift your weight too much to one leg or the other, and your opponent realizes that, that is a weakness. And if he's any good at all, he's going to exploit that weakness. And if you can't react and defensively handle anything that he's coming at you with as far as a leg attack, then you're in deep trouble.
Sheffick to the left of your screen there, 120-12 overall in his spectacular career. 2-1 the score now. And, you know, Kozik's in this. He hasn't really had much action, hasn't had many, you know, options available to him, and still trailing only by 1.
And Sheffick obviously very confident on his feet, taking down Kozik right off the bat, letting him up, and now he's trying for another takedown. The quarter Nelson goes her in on a single leg, but that's a nice counter by Sheffick.
And the first period comes to an end. Sheffick with the 2-1 lead. Well, the coin, and this is an interesting option because this sets things up for the final 2 minutes. The coin toss, so mandatory sometimes.
Definitely. In between the first and second period, the referee will flip the coin that is colored red on one side and green on the other. The wrestler that gets his color up gets the choice of deferring to his opponent to make a decision to take top or bottom, or he can choose top or bottom himself.
Well, Sheffick at that particular time electing to stay on his feet. It's all a mental game at times, and, I mean, you have to go with what's most comfortable as far as where do you think you can get the most points and where your best scoring combinations are going to come from.
And Sheffick is very confident on his feet. Sheffick qualified through the Southwestern Regional Tournament. He was the champion in that regional tournament. Kosik, the Southwestern third-place finisher.
Goes to show you, a lot of guys that are third or fourth in their particular region, or third in their region, they make a habit of doing big things here in Chocolatetown.
You know, it's not uncommon for guys that have placed second and third and even fourth to do extremely well. Very common for third-place finishers to win a state title. Oftentimes, the fellow that they can't beat in their own region gets beat in the lower half of the bracket, and they come through with flying colors, make it into the finals, and do very well in front of this big Hershey crowd.
It's wrestlers. It's just a huge push. And again, sometimes, as Sheffick just showed you there, when you're in trouble, again, the footwork and know where you can get out of bounds and buy some extra time and maybe shift momentum a little bit.
Yeah, a lot of that is good coaching and good experience from these wrestlers. You'll notice that some of the good guys, when they get in a lot of trouble, they know exactly where the out-of-bounds line is, and it becomes one of their best friends in a hurry.
A lot of wrestlers will just kind of play out the match right near that line.
Sheffick North Star in on a single leg.
trying to turn him over, right, Jim, to try and get some points here, maybe try and get him on his back.
Yeah, he's got two-point takedown.
Makes it a 4-1 Sheftick lead now. As we wind down the final seconds up there on your screen of this second period, we are in the championship in AA at 103 pounds. Just warming up a little bit.
Sheffick knows he's just going to ride him out to the end of the period. He doesn't want to give up that one-point escape.
Very elusive, very wiry as Sheftick to close out. And we go down now with 2 minutes to go in the match. 4-1. Sheftick with a 3-point lead. But the great thing about wrestling, Jim, and you say it over and over again, you're always a knockout away from winning. It doesn't matter if you're leading 50-0. If you get a pin, you're home free.
The pin is definitely the great equalizer. And Sheffick, again, with that total confidence on his feet, decides to lift Kozak up, try to take him down again.
Willing to even give up a point to get back on his feet and work from here. Looking at final period action here in the championship at 103 pounds. Trap McCormick won this a year ago as a junior out of Sugar Valley. He now wrestles for Bald Eagle Nittany, and he is going to be coming up here momentarily at 112.
Dan Kozak from Washington, District 7. Washington, of course, last year's state champion. Aaron Gatton was a two-time state champion, 189. And, of course, Jed, you know him from football, a dynamic football player.
Playing at Penn State, saw some time a year ago. Aaron Gatton, one of 13 champions from Washington, Pennsylvania. And right now, Dan Kozak hoping to make it 14, but he's running out of time underneath a minute to go, trailing 4-2. And it really makes it tough on the feet because Sheftick, again, so comfortable there, it's tough to really get any kind of advantage.
Well, as the time clicks by, Kozak realizes that it's winding down. All he needs is a takedown to tie this up. And, of course, now he's in on a single leg. But Sheffick, very good at defensive wrestling, and he's doing a nice job just trying to pry his leg out.
Sheftick, again, so balanced. You see that? He went in for the single leg that time, and he was still able to hold on.
You can hear the coaching staff from Washington yelling at Dan Kozak from their corner. They can see all he's got to do is get that takedown. He's just got 18 seconds left. That would tie it up, certainly. And the coaching staff, a little bit of sense of urgency going on.
This is the season right here, melting into 15 seconds. Dan Kozak, but Sheftick more than happy to just stay on his feet where he's gotten it done all year long. 34-0, and soon to be the champion in AA at 103 pounds. It's over. Sheftick doesn't get many style points, but you're not here to win on style points. You're here to win it, and he does 4-2. And most impressive on his feet, willing to even give up points to come from that position.
Definitely. These guys very evenly matched. The only difference is that Kyle Sheffick was just a little bit better on his feet.
This broadcast is underwritten in part by the dairy farmers of the Pennsylvania Dairy Promotion Program. They remind you that your body needs strong muscles, steady nerves, and quick energy to compete in today's athletics. Your body needs the right fuel. Got milk? Going to 112 pounds, Trap McCormick. He is out of Bald Eagle Nittany now. His school district consolidated. He was the champion at 103 a year ago, but Chris Musselman has had an impressive run since Thursday.
Yeah, he really has. Trap McCormick in the black uniform with the red anklet. Chris Musselman in the blue uniform with the green anklet. Both of these wrestlers, outstanding jobs making it into the finals. Of course, McCormick is a two-time returning state champion, up from a weight class from last year, up at 112 pounds. He has found it going a little bit rougher in this weight class. He's had a couple of tough bouts, most notably Brian Bezernski from Penn Argyll, District 11, only lost 4-2 to McCormick, and McCormick really struggled in that one.
There was a jaw-dropping upset in the opening round in the preliminaries. Derek Sola, who was a runner-up to McCormick a year ago at 103, was dropped by Brad Yoder 5-3. And all of a sudden, this weight class just took on, I guess, added meaning because everybody went, whoa, the runner-up's gone already. And he was the biggest upset, really, in day one.
Exactly. Derek Sola, of course, placed second in the state last year at 103 pounds. He was ranked third in the state at 112 pounds this year. out in the first round, nobody gets any respect here.
Well, that is true every year. The target is so fluorescent when you come into Hershey, and McCormick has had to weather all of that type of hype and publicity coming in. He'll have his hands full with Musselman, who comes out of Claysburg-Kimmel. His coach, Dave Marco, is 32-4. McCormick, he's 40-0, undefeated. Again, one of the 12 undefeated wrestlers in the Parade of Champions, 137-4. I mean, that's a lot of wrestling over a career.
These two wrestlers wrestled each other last weekend for the Southwestern Regional title. Trap McCormick won that bout. Of course, Chris Musselman would like to seek revenge in this bout in Hershey.
Again, the footwork. That's what we always say. And the one thing, too, Jim, is the upper body strength. Hard to believe these guys are carrying 112 pounds. It doesn't look that way because of their weight training and their upper body strength. They just have such thickness for 112.
Yeah, they really do. These guys are very, very deceiving. When you stand up next to them, you look at them and just wonder how in the world they could possibly make 112 pounds.
Well, making weight, again, that's something we've talked about over the years. That's such the mental part about wrestling. It's always on your mind. It's like the bubble over your head from the time you begin the season, really, until the time this is over.
It really adds a twist of drudgery to the entire season. Making that weight is day after day is just an absolute nightmare. One of the things that they did institute this year is they readopted the policy of giving the wrestlers 2 pounds of weight allowance, and I think that they do that after January. I think it's January 15th that comes into effect. So really, these wrestlers had to make 114 pounds on Thursday.
Still scoreless at the end of one. You're looking at championship action at 112 pounds. Trap McCormick got here with a 10-5 win against Mike Snyder. Chris Musselman, he was a 5-0 winner against P.J. Sargent, who came out of District 4 in Southern Columbia. And, I mean, he's, I guess Musselman, with the exception of McCormick's match against Brzezinski's, probably had the tougher road here at 112.
It's been a much more competitive bracket, definitely. Musselman did look exceptionally well against Nick Rockwell from Canton, District 4. He pinned him in the second period.
One thing about the officials, we have them mic'd, and, you know, again, Jim, you like it when you're on the mat and you're wrestling in there, your head's down, you're concentrating, to know where you stand, what you can and can't get away with.
Definitely. The referee that was a beautiful duck under by Trap McCormick right on the edge of the mat. Musselman with a good counter, tries a high leg over.
They're going to waive points off, though. I'll tell you, Musselman was close to a scoring combination there, and Musselman's trying to wiggle his way out of a tight jam. That's where McCormick, that's one of his pet moves up high, and, I mean, he springs it on you, and it comes out of nowhere.
McCormick very lucky to get out of that alive. He did a nice job getting his leg out, but Musselman, again, with a very nice high leg over, trying to counter that very good duck under move by McCormick.
Pulled his foot out of the vise, got a point. It's 1-0 McCormick, and what has been a very competitive look at 112 pounds. Championship in AA. McCormick wiggles his way out of bounds.
Now, Jeff, we know these two wrestlers have wrestled before, and I've always been a believer that the wrestler that has lost the match in a previous bout with the wrestler that he's wrestling again has the advantage. He's got nothing to lose. In particular, this bout, good throw by McCormick. Nothing that Musselman could do for a 2-point takedown.
How many years has he done that here? I mean, he tried getting that move back in the opening period, and he is just so coffee quick to that move. And again, he's got the power in the upper body to be able to pull it off and finalize.
Bald Eagle Nittany, Trap McCormick's team, had an excellent season this year. They finished the dual meet season 16-1 and lost only to Bald Eagle Area, which is a AAA team. Of course, Bald Eagle Area went 17-0 this year, and Bald Eagle Area again ranked 5th in the nation.
Well, when you look at good teams in dual meet situations, they've always got hammers in the lower weights to build the lead, get the momentum, and take your heart out. Always nice when you can bring a guy like a 2-time defending state champion at 112.
Yeah, momentum is so important in a dual meet situation. With a guy like Trap McCormick, a 2-time defending state champion, 3-time finalist, that gives you all the momentum you need.
It is 3-0. Trap McCormick as we head into the third period. Now, Musselman with a bit of an advantage. He's out of a scoring position coming from the bottom. and he's been known to get on the comeback trail before. But McCormick, again, with that upper body, as you see with that black singlet there, so very tough to come out of there in.
Musselman needs to get out and get a little offense going. He needs to get out, get a takedown, get a reversal, something just so that McCormick doesn't just ride him out here in the third period.
Well, the one thing that McCormick is doing, he's keeping one of those legs like pinned down so he can't kind of swing under there and try and get any kind of momentum and maybe get the roll reversal, the reversal rather, that he needs to get right back into the match.
And McCormick does a nice job of keeping his body weight on top of Musselman's, so that when Musselman does try to get to his feet, he's got to lift not only his own body, but he's got to lift McCormick laying on his back as well.
When you do come from the bottom, you've got to make your move right away, don't you, Jim, for the most part?
Most good wrestlers really just shoot right on the bottom, make their first move count, because a lot of times you don't get a second chance when you have a guy that's a good top wrestler like McCormick is, with a good bar arm in, like he has now.
He's digging that chin into the back as well, as you can see vividly now on your screen. It's the subtleties of the game you really don't get from the stands. There it is right there.
In last year's finals, Derek Sola lost to Trap McCormick 7-2 in the finals at 103 pounds. Trap McCormick, of course, he's got that good bar arm on. There's not an awful lot that Musselman can do at that point, and he knows it.
I mean, he is in lockdown right now.
But McCormick has got to use that as a pinning combination. He can't use it as a ride. And the referee's going to call him for stalling just for that reason.
And that makes you one move away. 2 stalls, and it goes on the board as 1 point. So he will ride in caution now for a little while. There's your time left in the match. We're in the third period at 112 pounds. Trap McCormick, the 2-time defending champ, on top and in control for now.
I think that was a good call by the referee. A lot of fans think that with a pinning combination, you can just kind of hang out, but you have to go for a fall from the top position. A pinning combination not being used to go for back points is just a ride, and riding is a stall.
Sorry, Jim, one of the mandates, one of the charges, I think, from the officiating crew is to create the action necessary. It seems there's always been something lost from going to the semifinals to the Parade of Champions, that sense of urgency, if you will. It's almost like a relief point to make it this far, and I think they're trying to create a little more action this way.
Oh, definitely. These referees don't like to see anybody in the finals just sort of coast, if you will.
Final seconds of the match. Trap McCormick, now 3-time state champion. And I'll tell you, Jim, he is an impressive look as you're going to find in the lightweight at 103 a year ago. Champion at 112 this time around.
3-time state champion. I think that says it all. Trap McCormick is one tough guy to wrestle.
Be there for the fun as Hershey Park celebrates its 90th birthday during the grand opening weekend, May the 10th and 11th at 10 o'clock each day. To the award stand at 103, Kyle Sheftick, the champion, winning that match from Dan Kozik 4-2. And again, he got it done on his feet, Jim, and he was outstanding, as solid fundamentally as you can be at 103.
Totally confident on his feet, comfortable enough to let his opponent, Dan Kozik, up, just to give him that 1-point escape so that he could go and take him down. A 4-2 winner, Kyle Sheftick.
Let's go to the championship now at 119 pounds. 2 sophomores, Tom Waldron out of Loyalsock, 29-0, 62-3 lifetime. B.J. Wise, who's out of District 4, sophomore as well, out of Benton. Scott Hughes, his coach, 27-4. Well, Benton is one of the storied programs in the state of Pennsylvania. The Hughes twins wrestling at Penn State would be 2 recent examples.
Definitely. And both these wrestlers are 10th graders. B.J. Wise from Benton wearing the green anklet. Tom Waldron from Loyalsock wearing the red. With a very nice step over, B.J. Wise has got Waldron in trouble right off the bat.
Well, one thing about the Benton wrestlers is that they are so technically sound, and the other thing is physically intimidating. Again, we talk upper body. These guys can just turn and challenge on a moment's notice.
They've definitely got a great weight program. Of course, the Hughes brothers known for their upper body strength, and they're very comfortable using that strength to their advantage. B.J. Wise, an outstanding upper body wrestler.
These guys are just getting started. 60 wins already as sophomores. And again, Wise has just been in complete control so far here in this opening period, leading this match 2-0. Boy, those officials, too. The one thing, they get right down in there.
Oh, yeah.
Leaving no stone unturned as to what is going on, what's being verbalized. Again, the feet.
B.J. Wise trying a little tilt on Waldron. Right on the edge of the mat. He's got himself in a little bit of trouble.
Well, Waldron trying to get himself some reversal points, but
Waldron's going to get 2 for a reverse.
And they just put him up on the board.
And a quick 1-point escape.
There's Wise. Takes a 3-2 lead, and that little push at the end creates
just
some interest.
A little bit of intimidation by B.J. Wise.
Well, your adrenaline is flowing so much. I'm sure that they tune everything out. So they will collect their thoughts in the flip. The option is going to go for Waldron. He'll defer to the final period, and this means that Wise will come down.
Waldron struggled to make it into the finals. He had a 1-to-1 overtime rideout buyout in his semifinals over Sean White from West Green, District 7. One of the things I did notice was that Waldron was totally out of gas in that match.
His brother Mike Waldron, the defending champ at 119 pounds. Loyal Sock, great program out of District 4. There they are, shoulder to shoulder. You know, on your screen, you don't really think that much exertion is going on there, but I mean, they are just, every ounce of power that they have left at this time is going in to try and getting that advantage on their feet.
Oh, it's like doing isometrics for 6 minutes.
Yeah.
Waldron in.
Waldron trying to turn the page right now. Ooh.
Waldron does get that takedown.
That was just a great move by Wise to really avert some major damage there, because they're about to ring him up for some back points, and he just turned his left shoulder in time.
He's smart enough to know and has enough savvy that you don't hang in too long. You can hang in there if you think you might be able to get out of a bad situation, but when the referee awards that 2-point takedown, you've got to be worried about giving up back points.
Joe Ciotti of Girard was one of the big thunders in the bottom half of the bracket for B.J. Wise, and he took him out at 303 in the semifinals. Right now, a 5-4 lead for B.J. Wise. Both of these guys have been scoring machines all year long, and they are here in the gold medal round at 119.
B.J. Wise was winning 10-4 over Joe Ciotti from Girard, District 10, when he finally pinned him in that semifinal bout.
And excuse me, that fall came at 5:08. Final seconds ticking away in the second period, and what has been a very entertaining look at 119.
Waldron with another nice takedown immediately goes to that half Nelson ride.
Well, the strength that it takes to just lock your arms underneath and hold on. And
you can see that right at the end of the period.
The crowd kind of sighs in disappointment. I think they were kind of waiting to see how that might turn out. That was one of them.
You can get pinned from the top position, and that's one of the best ways to do it.
Some of the crowd climbing on. Mark Shuey, as we check in with you, and when we talk about this event, PIAA Wrestling Championship being one of the premier event of its kind in the country, it's just amazing how tough a ticket this is year in, year out. But it's amazing how much talent is here year in, year out, and they all show up on the college page a few years down the road.
Oh, that's right. Pennsylvania is one of the premier wrestling states in the entire nation. And we're watching two very good young wrestlers. There are 4 sophomores involved in the state finals at the AA level here this afternoon at Hershey. Tom Waldron and B.J. Wise are 2 of them. Right now, Tom Waldron's being attended to. That move at the end of the second period had Waldron knocked a little woozy. Now his coaching staff is out there attending to Tom Waldron. And Jed, Jim, back to you guys, hoping that Tom Waldron's going to be okay here very shortly.
Want to remind you that this broadcast is underwritten in part by the dairy farmers of the Pennsylvania Dairy Promotion Program. We remind you that hard work and good nutrition will improve your performance in the classroom and on the field. You need the right ingredients in your training program. Got milk? We have 3 minutes remaining in the championship at 119 pounds. 6-5 our score, with Tom Waldron out of Loyalsock holding the 1-point advantage. And Waldron again coming from the bottom with somewhat of an advantage, but now all of a sudden B.J. Wise is trying to get something done with a single leg here.
B.J. Wise with a cross-body ride with a power half, just trying to tilt Waldron enough to get some back points. Unfortunately, didn't quite break that 45-degree plane.
For those of you, a lot of people watching for the first time, and we'll wait for this maneuver to complete first. Back points, what's the maximum allowed, Jim? And, how much time do you have to have him down there?
Well, you can get 3 back points, but you've got to have your opponent on his back for 5 consecutive seconds. It's not a cumulative thing. If the wrestler would be on his back for 2 seconds, then gets up on his back for 4 seconds more, and then gets up, it still doesn't count. It's not 5 consecutive seconds. In that situation, when it's less than 5 seconds, it's 2 back points that are awarded.
Stalemate called. 6-5 still. Tom Waldron leading by 1 with exactly 1 minute to go in the championship here at 119 pounds.
In Tom Waldron's opening bout against Jeff Musselman from Bedford, District 5, the score was 0-0 with 17 seconds left in the third period when Waldron finally got a reverse to win that bout 2-0. And there's another quick reverse.
That's huge points, too, for Waldron. Gives him a 3-point lead and not much sand left in the glass now in this final period. So B.J. Wise is going to have to start wrestling with a sense of urgency, but it's awful tough as you catch a look on his face with a chin in his back. And there he comes. Trying to just finish it off, and he can't do it. Boy, he really needed the turn there to get back in it.
Yeah, Wise needed those 2 points. He needed even more than that. Waldron knows it, and of course, if he got in a jam, he was probably just going to let Wise reverse him because he knows he's still be ahead by 1 point at the end.
And he rides it out, and that's it at 119. Entertaining match, but give Waldron credit. He put out the fire early. It looked like Wise had momentum, but Waldron really stuck to his game plan and wins 8-5.
And, Jed, both of these wrestlers are in 10th grade. I'm sure that they're going to be seeing each other again.
The awards at 112. Trap McCormick, 3-time state champ, front and center on your screen right there. What an outstanding performer he's been over the last few years.
And Trap McCormick, 41-0 this season. Outstanding, a 3-time state champion. There's not an awful lot of guys that can say that.
We go to the action at 125. Senior out of West Branch, Rob English, District 6. Gary Miller, his coach. 34-0, 117-18 overall. Josh Miller out of Tri-Valley, senior, District 11. District 11, what a tradition there is up there. Bill Krebs, his coach, he's 35-2.
Josh Miller is wearing the green anklet. Rob English is wearing the red. Miller in with a quick takedown. Miller, of course, is a 4-time finalist. He won his first state title back in 1994.
Trying to kick that leg out of there.
Going for a quick cradle. You can bet that Josh Miller wants to win this match. He's been in the finals 4 different times. He won 3 years ago as a 9th grader. Lost 2 years ago. Lost last year. In the finals again this year. And I'm sure it means all the world to him. He has looked absolutely powerful throughout this tournament. Riding with that half Nelson.
I'll tell you, Bill Krebs, his coach, we can hear him over on our broadcast vantage point. Scott Bair, the defending champ at a Bald Eagle Nittany a year ago. Here's Rob English. 6-2 winner over John Vroblik in the semifinals. Miller got here by taking out Dustin Ziegler, had to survive overtime to win 11-9. Goes to show you how much you ride the bubble all weekend long. I mean, overtime, I mean, anything can happen there in any sport, especially wrestling.
Yeah, people get tired and they end up not wrestling as well as they should. Josh Miller, of course, struggled to make that 11-9 overtime victory stand. And right back at you, there's a quick reverse for English.
Coaches want him to get that chin in there and start taking control a little bit.
Rob English from West Branch, District 6, of course. West Branch's only champ was back in 1973, Jerry White at 155 pounds.
That has been a while. Good first period of action. This summer, visit Midway America at Hershey Park. Ride the new Ferris wheel and whip rides and enjoy our new games, food, and shops.
Josh Miller in the down position, Rob English on top.
Tied at 2, and again, know where you are. Near that out-of-bounds line, just kind of step out of there. Say, all right, let's start this over again.
Josh Miller has 2 losses coming into this tournament. One of the losses was to Jake Stanchak from Southern Columbia, District 4, during the season, but that was up at 130 pounds. In Miller's semifinal bout against Dustin Ziegler, Bedford, District 5. Ziegler was losing 9-7. Got a takedown with 1 second left to tie it, 9-9 in the final period to go into overtime. Miller, of course, got that takedown in overtime to win 11-9.
Well, English that time. Legs get a little wobbly.
One of the things these referees are very good at is stopping a situation where a potentially dangerous incident might be occurring. It's a switch by Josh Miller and a quick 2-point reversal.
So he takes a 4-2 lead. There's your time left in the middle period in the championship here at 125 pounds.
Miller with a crossface, going for a crossface cradle.
There goes English again, trying to get on top and stepped in the wrong way. No points awarded that time.
Back in 1996, Rob English qualified as a Northwestern Regional second-place finisher. He lost 10-5 to Mike Waldron in the semifinals and placed 6th at 119 pounds.
Spindly is English. He just kind of jumps around, goes in.
English with a near cradle. This is an ugly situation for Josh Miller.
The meter's running, continuing to run. He got 3 seconds there. He didn't get the whole 5.
Forget it.
There you see Miller. He's on the bottom of your screen, and he is in big trouble right now in the second period.
Josh Miller struggling to stay alive in this match.
And the clock can't end fast enough for Miller. Oh, and the coaches for English know that opportunity slipped a little bit there, but it's 7-4 Rob English as we make the turn. Boy, that was close.
It's a big 5-point swing right there. Josh Miller, you know, Jed, I can't tell you what it takes to come back from something like that. To get reversed to your back and have to fight off your back for for such a long time, it really, really wears you down. Here we see with the replay.
Well, I'll tell you, he was so very close, Jim, and he just couldn't get enough of the meter to run.
And you can see how English hooks that far leg. That gives him, see how he's lifting it straight up in the air? That gives him just a little bit of extra leverage to help put Miller's other shoulder down on the mat.
First, don't get that off, green. Set, green.
English will come from the bottom. Now, sometimes the bell comes at the right time, and it certainly did that time for Miller. Out of Tri-Valley, District 11, 35-2. And we, I think, saw with that reversal there in the back points that Rob English is not an accident at 34-0, is he? I mean, what a move that was.
Yeah, absolutely not. And that's going to be tough to bounce back from.
Psychologically and physically. I mean, he just put that right there in a hurry.
Miller's got to get some offense. He's got 4 points he needs to make up just to tie this match.
Now he's in even more, I guess, trouble because his headgear flew off. They'll give it back to him here.
Josh Miller lost the finals in 1995 at 119 pounds to Scott Bair from Bald Eagle Nittany, and then lost again in 1996 to Scott Bair in a controversial 4-3 championship final.
Guys ready?
I remember that match. That was very...
Right at the end. Point scored right at the end. Miller in with a double leg.
Trying to turn it over.
Trying to get a couple of back points on his own. He's got the 2-point takedown.
He's right in it at 8-6 now.
And he's got 1 more minute to score some back points.
Just trying to just flip him over, and it's hard to do. Because English is more or less gluing himself to the floor.
Well, English knows all he's got to do is ride it out.
The official looking in to see if there's a stalemate situation. They're even taking a closer look.
There's a stall call on English.
They're letting him know he's got to create more action now, as there's your time remaining in the match. Crowd beginning to anticipate things. But there goes English on top, and that should be the move that seals the fate of Josh Miller for the championship at 119.
Miller trying to cradle, got himself in a lot of trouble, but you got to give him credit for trying. A couple of meaningless back points given away by Miller at the end. Rob English with that big 5-point move.
Wow, the emotion that you must feel when you look up on that board to your left and say, oh my. A Midas touch for Rob English, and he had to fight his way for it. I'll tell you, a late rally by Josh Miller made it interesting, but he couldn't turn it over and get the back points necessary, maybe to even force overtime. To the award stands at 119. This was a very entertaining match. Tom Waldron of Loyalsock out of District 4, a sophomore. B.J. Wise, you expect to see more of these two down the road, Jim.
These guys being sophomores at 119 pounds. I'm sure we haven't seen the last of either one of these guys.
Bald Eagle Nittany, as we mentioned, they had one out of District 6. But, you know, back to these guys at 119, you know, B.J. Wise out of Benton, Scott Hughes, his coach, and, you know, you're looking right there at your champ, Tom Waldron. This was a very, very even match from start to finish.
Oh, definitely. These two guys knew each other's wrestling moves. They'd wrestled before. Tom Waldron just won this match 8-5. He's a champ at 119.
We go to 130 right now. Ryan Class out of Wilson area in District 11, a senior. David Kroll's his coach, 37-1, 130-26 overall. Keith Bloss, he's his junior as well. He's a junior, rather. District 11, Northern Lehigh. Todd Herzog, his coach, 33-4. And, you know, District 11, just an incredible hotbed for wrestling in Pennsylvania.
Definitely. In particular in AAA, District 11 is by far the district to beat this year. They have really put a lot of big-name people into the finals.
Brian Class is wearing the red anklet. Keith Bloss is in the green. Class with the blue singlet there. He's got his back to you. Opening period in the championship at 130. Northern Lehigh is one of the storied programs in AA. And these guys wrestle a lot of the, they're all over the Thunder in District 11, the AAA boys. So these guys really know what they're doing when they reach it here in AA.
Oh, definitely.
They're against Nazareth and all those guys. Northampton.
In fact, Brian Class has one loss, and his loss is to a Blair Academy wrestler, a prep school Blair Academy wrestler in a Bethlehem tournament. Sean Gray from Blair Academy pinned him in the first period, and that is the only blemish on Brian Class's record this season.
And no shame either going down in the Bethlehem tournament. I mean, Lehigh Valley Wrestling, they take great pride in it. It has a great following, not only from a fan standpoint, but a media standpoint as well. Opening period, still scoreless. Championship at 130.
Los qualified for this tournament as the Southeastern runner-up. Brian Class, the Southeastern champion. These two have met before, and of course, Class was the champion of that Southeastern Regional qualifying tournament.
Two of the District 11 participants in the AA Parade of Champions. Right center stage here at 130 with under 30 to go in the opening period. Stalemate situation.
Go, guys. Come on.
Back in 1996, Los qualified as a Southeastern third-place finisher. He lost his first-round match to Jake Stanchak, 15-2 from Southern Columbia District 4, and did not place in that tournament.
That's earlier in the year.
Yeah.
Here you are at Hershey, going for gold and or silver, depending on how it all turns out here in the next 4 minutes. One period is in the book. Again, the flip.
Red choice. Red defers to green. Green choice. Green chooses neutral.
I've never seen anybody say, all right, I'll take down in the second period.
It's unusual.
You always defer. I mean,
it's unusual to automatically take a down position or even make a decision at all. Most wrestlers will defer.
Still scoreless at 130. Now you're to the point in the second period where you think the first points either way are going to be huge.
And they carry a lot of momentum, and that's exactly right. In a scoreless match, we're in the second period. One of the things that will certainly make things go your way is to get that momentum rolling and get a couple of points on the board early.
Brian Class. Again, we mentioned how good these guys are on their feet. Doesn't matter who you see at this particular level. When they make it here to Hershey, period, from Thursday on, all of them know what they're doing on their feet. And they struggle. Now, also, I think the mindset of the official is, let's get some action going now. And I think his patience is wearing a little thin with some of the stalemate situations.
Oh, definitely. The referee knows that these guys have got to work, and they keep an eye on that. Back in the 1996 tournament here at Hershey, Class lost his quarterfinal round against Jess Dowell, who was a finalist that year from Bermudian Springs, District 3, 8-3, and did not place at 130 pounds.
Let's go to Mark Shuey. Mark, who's Matt's side with us today. Mark?
As we're watching these two tremendous athletes, Brian Class and Keith Blows, let's remember that these guys are student athletes, and the combined GPA of all the finalists here at the AA level is a very good 3.1. So these guys are the epitome of student athletes we're watching here today at the Hershey Park Arena.
Further your theory, Mark, also why most college recruiters climb all over this place and climb all over the gyms all year long. Big move now, Jim, for Class.
Just a hip throw from Class. This is big 5 points, 2-point takedown, certain 3-point near fall with a possible pin with about 18 seconds left.
Signature moment of the match here at 130. Big move by Brian Class, and I mean, he took it out of nowhere.
Brian Class has got it tight.
But give Lowe some credit because he's turning that shoulder just enough to get out of the period. But still, 5-point value right there for Brian Class. And again, the upper body strength and just the quickness to go to the move when the open door is there.
Yeah, Brian Class with that quick takedown right to his back. 2-point takedown, 3-point near fall. In the finals of the state tournament, that is really difficult to bounce back from.
Again, you don't see many 5-point moves in the state tournament. They do kind of stand out, much like falls and pens and all that other stuff. But here we go with Keith Bloss on the comeback trail right now to Northern Lehigh. Again, we mentioned he's 80 and 15 overall.
Back in 1995, Brian Class qualified as a Southeastern runner-up, and he got pinned in the first round, but he survived that tough wrestleback to place 5th at 125 pounds.
When you start thinking Easton and Nazareth and all these other schools that are in District 11 that are in these same tournaments that both Blows and Class have seen time and time again, makes you tournament tough.
Keith Blows from Northern Lehigh, District 11. Their last champ was Jeremy Dogmanis at 112 pounds back in 1995.
Out of bounds they go, and again, time, a huge concern. But again, as we mentioned in the opening match, in wrestling, you never know. You're one move away from to steal a baseball term, the grand slam home run, the fall.
A lateral drop, a headlock, and we're back in business.
For Brian Class right now, what you want to do is just, don't leave yourself vulnerable with being so close in this much control.
Yeah. You've got to make an effort. You've got to at least try for takedowns, even though you're protecting that 5-point lead. You don't want to get yourself in trouble, because really the only thing that's going to ruin your day is another 5-point move from your opponent. And there's a stalling call, of course, on Class.
Get out of bounds, and all he's doing is ticking the clock away. No need to be aggressive anymore.
And Class knows he's got this all wrapped up.
And they wind it out. Done. Well, one move in that match was the tail, and it came late in the second period. Brian Class got his takedown, got full value with back points and a 5-point swing, and that's how it ends. 5-0. Brian Class, most impressive out of Wilson area. At 125, Rob English, your winner over Josh Miller, 10-6. Miller steps on there, Jim. It's tough being a bridesmaid an awful lot, but he has had an outstanding career and an outstanding career in these PIAA state championships. It's survival of the fittest, rather. It was just English's day at 10-6 in the final.
No, definitely. Josh Miller, of course, a 4-time finalist, and you gotta give credit to Rob English. Not a lot of guys can beat a 4-time finalist.
To 135 pounds we go out of Sayre High School, a junior. District 4, Gabe Webster, 33-0. Dana Twigg is his coach. Again, out of Northern Lehigh, Tory Tobias. He is a junior. And Northern Lehigh, we just saw his teammate Keith Bloss. He is 39-0, Tobias. And this is one of the matchups that I think everybody kind of circled that may happen, and it did at 135. These guys were two of your co-favorites coming in.
Definitely. Gabe Webster from Sayre ranked first in the state prior to the tournament. Tory Tobias ranked second in the state coming into the tournament. Both of these wrestlers undefeated, and here they are in the finals at Hershey. Gabe Webster wearing the red anklet. Tory Tobias wearing the green.
Your referee is Mr. Thomas Megan from Scottsdale, Pennsylvania.
There you see him. Doesn't look like much on screen there, Jim, but boy, you mentioned isometrics. That was a great description, I think. It more or less just pull up a wall and try and lean into that as hard as you can, because that's what we're seeing here.
And do that for about 6 minutes.
Right. Mm-hmm. Exhausting is what it is. 4 or 5 matches under your belt getting here. The tournaments, just getting out of District 11 is its own mental torture as well. Here we are on the championship at 135. About a minute to go here in round number 1.
In last year's state tournament, Webster lost to Josh Miller, Tri-Valley, who we just saw a couple of weights ago at 125 pounds, 8-6 in the quarters, ended up placing 4th. Tory Tobias from Northern Lehigh also made it to the state championships last year. He came as a Southeastern regional champion. He lost in the first round and did not place in last year's
That can be so tough, as we mentioned, wrestlebacks. When you get dumped into the consolation round, some guys can handle the mental anguish of losing in the opening round, and others it just doesn't seem to come together at all.
Yeah, it's not just another day for these guys. They come in with no losses on their record, and all of a sudden they get beat up and mauled in the first round, and they have to come back just maybe an hour later to win another wrestleback match just to stay alive, and the best they can do is 3rd place. It's a lot of mental torture.
Obviously the defer. And coming out of the down position is going to be Gabe Webster. Again, both these young men so
I'd like you to pull your toes in
well
a little bit.
bent.
That's good. Got to give him an opportunity to get on legal. Hold. Get on.
You can hear the referee barking orders to these guys. And, Jed, I love it when the referee talks.
You said you always like to know where you stand. Even the style of the match can be dictated by the referee as well. When he wants action, he's going to tell you exactly what the rules are going to be.
Sure.
We got pretty much a mandate, I think, for those second periods started. One to nothing is all to Gabe Webster. He's to the left of your screen right now, moving away toward the top. Sayre High School, District 4. District 4's had a great tournament in '97.
They really have. In AA, they have been a dominating force.
Later, we'll see Mike Shingara, and he's one of the hammers in District 4 with Line Mountain, one of the top programs there. But Sayre has certainly come on in recent years. Gabe Webster, the latest example, again, at 33-0. Both these wrestlers undefeated. Part of the 90-win club. They'll be well over 100 wins by next year, and wouldn't surprise to see him back here at another weight class or back at 135 a year from now. But the business at hand. There's your time remaining. Second period, and not much scoring going on so far. These guys have just been more or less in a lockdown situation, pushing and shoving.
And they really have.
And sometimes, Jim, and didn't mean to interrupt your thought there, but it gets so close sometimes that you're afraid to make a move. Your aggressiveness doesn't really kind of take over a little. You're thinking too much.
Well, in the state finals, that's very, very common. And there's a warning call, stall warning on Gabe Webster.
And with it only 1-0, these stall warnings can become huge now.
Yeah, later on in the match, that could be a very, very big call. But you're right, Jed. These guys get out, and they get in. First of all, they're solo in front of a big crowd. And they know, of course, that their opponent is a darn good wrestler. And if they make a mistake, it could be lights out.
Mark Shuey, what do you have for us, Matt Side?
Well, I'm sitting here watching the match with Tory Tobias' brother, Kyle. And Kyle says, watch for the power roll. That is Corey's big move, and he usually saves that for the later periods. And here we are heading into period number 3.
He gets to start from the bottom with that. Going to be a point awarded, and that'll tie it at 1. What are you thinking here, Jim, on your feet?
Well, it's tied 1-1. First of all, if you're Gabe Webster, you don't want to get warned again for stalling. That's the main concern he's got to have. And both of these wrestlers have got to get a takedown. They've got to score.
Again, you lunge in, you try and go for the single leg, try and get any advantage you can. Scratch, claw. In the final period at 1:35.
There's a quick, beautiful ankle pick. Webster, unbelievable. How the heck do you get out of that?
He just did.
130 pound place winners, make your way to your work stand. 130 pounders and coaches, make your way.
There you see him, just locked up like 2 rams in a field. Out of bounds they go.
Tory Tobias from Northern Lehigh in his semifinal bout. He won 4-3 over Chad Luckenbaugh from West York, District 3. One of the things that I noticed was that he stayed on his feet the entire match, which is the thing to do against Chad Luckenbaugh, who dominates from the top position with bar arms and load-ups. Tobias clearly scouted Luckenbaugh and did just what he needed to win that semifinal bout.
So he leans in. You can hear shoulder to shoulder right there. Up in the air, he's trying to get those arms tied. There's some trouble here.
Tobias is in. Webster's got him locked up.
Doesn't want one of those blades to touch.
Nobody has control. No takedown yet. 10 seconds left.
Trying to push, push, push. He's got one leg through, and we're going overtime. Oh, my goodness.
That was a close one.
An inch either way, and that's over.
Offense, gentlemen.
Here we are in that 2-minute sudden death overtime period.
And there he is, stunned. Just like that, and he wins and scores.
Gabe Webster. Takedown just early on, first 5 seconds of that overtime period.
That's funny. You spend all that time wondering, somewhat conservative. Boom, they hit you with overtime, springs to move, 5 seconds in, and it's over, and Webster wins gold at 135.
And that's where conditioning really, really pays off.
So the deck at 130. Ryan Class, 5-0 winner, and it came on one move in the second period, and that was good enough to strike gold. And what was a very even match with the exception of that one move.
And often that's all it takes. One slip up by Keith Close, and he's down 5-0. Of course, he could not come back. Ryan Class, the champion at 130 pounds.
Out of Wilson area, part of the District 11 contingent. 37-1 heading in. He's now 38-1. You mentioned his only loss came in the Bethlehem tournament earlier this year. There he is, proud and standing tall, the champion at 130, Brian Class. As we go to 140 right now, Frank Piff, Catasauqua, District 11. He's a senior, 31-3. Coach Mike Connor. Joe Henson, defending state champ, District 3. He's a senior, Hanover. Terry Conover, his coach, 36-0, and Mr. Henson is a rugged customer.
Oh, he is definitely a tough guy. In particular, from the top position, he has probably the best bar arms that I've seen in the tournament, and he is not afraid to use them, and he will wear you down.
Henson in the green anklet. Piff will wear the red. Now check that.
Henson's in the red anklet and the orange uniform. Piff, of course, in the brown uniform, green anklet.
Solid brown singlet there. As we go to Mark Shuey, there's more than just one Henson around Hanover, and we're going to see another version here in a little while. These guys, twins.
That's right. Twin wrestling brothers, Josh Henson of Hanover as well. He's a senior, 160 pounds, and he's made it all the way to Hershey for the state finals here at the AA level as well. But he's back there watching his brothers, Joe, take on Frank Piff currently at the 140-pound class.
Jed, there have been 4 sets of twins.
Oh, you were right on my brain.
State final. Back in 1945, Robert and William Barbender. They were both champs from Erie Strong Vincent. 1981, of course, Ricky and Rocky Bonomo, both champs from Lake Lehman. 1989, John and Russ Hughes from Benton. They made it to the finals, but in 1989, John was champ, Russ was runner-up. Both were champs again in 1990, and both were champs for a third-time finalist in 1991.
So we got into that with the Waldron-Wise matchup at 119. Right now, the championship at 140. There's your time remaining to the left of your screen. Big move there. Points awarded for Henson.
Henson blocking the arm. Just quick gets around for his 2-point takedown now. One of the things that you'll see him do from the top position, he generally does not let his opponents up. He'll keep them down and grind them. And he puts those bar arms on, and he never lets up with it.
Frank Piff, he had to go overtime with Rob Sarvis to get here. Sarvis out of Danville in District 4. And the first period comes to an end, and Henson with a 2-0 lead.
Green's his choice, okay? Green's going to defer his choice to red.
Frank Piff in last year's championships came in as a Southeastern second-place finisher. He lost his quarterfinal match at 130 pounds to Chad Luckenbaugh from West York, District 3, 7-4, and did not place.
Escape point awarded for Henson, who's now out in control 3-0 in the opening seconds of the second period in the championship at 140.
Henson is not a flashy wrestler. Typical takedowns, singles and doubles. But again, from the top position, he's very, very tough.
Halfway through the card here in AA at 140. Henson gets out of bounds.
In last year's state championship match, Henson beat Ray Stopko 5-3 from Bethlehem Catholic to become the school's first champ at 140 pounds. And one of the things that hurts Hanover High School, in my opinion, is that during the season, they do not wrestle in individual tournaments. They will wrestle in team tournaments, but the individual tournament like you have here at Hershey, Hanover High School does not participate in any of them, and I think it hurts them when they come to this kind of an atmosphere. The wrestlers don't have the same comfort level wrestling one-on-one, and you don't have your camaraderie of your teammates to sort of help you along. But, of course, Joe Henson, a returning state champion, so he must be doing something right.
Henson is, he's been one of the better ones in District 3 in either double or AAA for a while, especially at this weight class. He's been a dominant force.
In with a fireman's carry.
Yep. Got him up. He's trying to turn Henson around. Piff making a bit of a rally here. We're moving to double digits to go in this second period. Looks like Henson's going to weather the storm, though. He's got such great footwork. And, again, he's an elongated body. He's got such great presence, feet to the floor, and always kind of has great balance here, Jim.
Henson in the orange uniform is going to get that takedown sooner or later. The referee has not awarded it yet.
He's trying to pound through on it, though. Piff almost got him turned around there. It's a 2-point takedown. And control now for Henson, who's out in front 5-0 against Piff. District 11, Catasauqua.
The coach for Hanover High.
That's tough right there. When your foot's grabbed.
Oh, yeah.
Jumping around.
Terry Conover, the coach for Hanover High School, was inducted to the PIAA Wrestling Hall of Fame at last year's championships.
Nickname is Nails by the media that cover the Hanover program an awful lot. He's an intense individual. Mark Shuey.
Coaches right across the mat from me is Cedar Cliff's legendary coach Bob Craig, who this past season recorded his 500th career victory. And Jim Davis, I believe you were along for the ride on at least a portion of those 500 victories. Jim, what's a good coach like Hanover's coach, like Cedar Cliff's legendary coach Bob Craig? What's that do for a very talented wrestler like Henson here?
Get out on the mat, you realize that all that time you put in the wrestling room during practice, this is where it's all going to pay off, and you've got one of the best coaches in the state in your corner. That's a big advantage.
In the final period. And again, you're up 5-1. Mentally, just don't leave a crack in the door open for anybody to walk through. Just be very, very careful and stay mentally alert. That's what Henson does right now at 140, looking to repeat as champion here in AA. We'll see his twin brother, Josh, a few weight classes from now.
Frank Piff strong enough in the upper body, not letting Joe Henson get a bar arm on him.
35-pounders, make your way to the board.
There you see Joe Henson. He's riding the top. You can see that chin and the elbow right in the back there. That's a move that's taught relatively early in life for wrestlers. They do not wait until you get high school to teach you that little trick of the trade, do they, Jim?
Keep your weight on your opponent.
That's right.
And if you can do it with a little bit of exclamation, It makes it just that much better.
One thing I've learned coming to this tournament over the years is all the little subtleties that go to get an advantage. And the other is everybody's got a ding or a crack somewhere along the line. Nobody's 100% healthy at this time of year.
Yeah.
And you keep all your cards down as to what's ailing you right now, because you go right for the jugular or go right for any Achilles heel rather that would be there.
Yeah, to get this far, these guys are definitely banged up. Somebody's got a hurt ankle or a hurt knee from somewhere. And of course, you got to wrestle a couple of times in one day at this tournament. And certainly you are going to aggravate whatever might be hurt even a little bit going into the first round.
Counting out the final seconds here in the championship at 140. Joe Henson has pretty much been in control all along, but there is time for a move. Piff would have to get it done. He's out of time. That's it. Henson has done it. Terry Conover, head coach, breathes a sigh of relief. He's got one home. He needs another.
And in workmanlike fashion, Joe Henson, nothing flashy. Singles, doubles, forearms.
They don't give out style points here, though. They give out golds and silvers and other stuff.
All that matters is that you win the match at the end of the 6 minutes.
Joe Henson, the champion for the second consecutive year at 140 pounds. He's now 37-0.
Our 135-pound medal winner.
The awards at 135. This was won in overtime. Gabe Webster, really nothing to say about this match until 5 seconds into overtime when Webster says, all right, here's my move, does it on Tobias, kaboom, wins it with a takedown.
Yeah, Gabe Webster, 5 seconds into overtime. Here it comes. Deal with it, Tory Tobias. And unfortunately, Tobias could not hang on, gave up the 2 points. 3-1 in overtime.
We're halfway home on the card in the championship, the parade of champions in AA. We'll be back with more from the Hershey Park.